What's up? Welcome to the latest edition of Bleeding Priest Bay Area Metal Spotlight. With this one, I'm going to be covering two albums by a wonderful band from San Francisco called Hammers of Misfortune. Actually, nowadays they hail out of Montana. When I say they, I mean the two main members, John Cobbett and his wife, Sigrid Shea. They relocated to Montana pre-pandemic, but they'll always be considered a San Francisco band, and these two albums certainly came out when they were still living in the city and rehearsing in the city and all of that. So I think I'll start with my favorite Hammers of Misfortune album, 17th Street. Most Hammers of Misfortune fans would say their debut album is their favorite, The Bastard. Fantastic album, no doubt. A marvelous debut album. Definitely more along the lines of black metal and it's very medieval. I remember when John Cobbett first formed that band and he was describing it to me, he said, "We're going to get medieval on your ass." You know, he do a little Pulp Fiction quote there. But he wasn't lying. That first album is very Dungeons and Dragons. And it's great. I just like this era of the band a little more. By this time, he was writing more rock-oriented music and kind of sad songs. But when I say sad, I don't mean depressing, because this album is not depressing at all. It's very exciting, and lots of moments up and down. But there's a thread of sadness throughout it, and I believe this album is a concept album about the decline of San Francisco, or of a city, but I think San Francisco was the inspiration, because when this album came out, things were going from bad to worse in the city. But yeah, I love this record. The production is fantastic. The best production Hammers of Misfortune has had so far. And, John has a knack for writing really catchy, heavy rocking riffs. But anybody can write a heavy rocking riff. His riffs are very interesting. And there's equal parts of heaviness and like just beautiful, like softer moments. And there's beautiful songs on this album. And I had the pleasure and the honor of playing or drumming for them when they did a tour for this album. The original drummer, Chewy, left the band shortly after they made this record, after it was completed. And they had a tour coming up, and so they reached out to me. I did it, and it was a lot of fun. It was an honor to be touring with that high of a caliber of musicians and people. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the tour was not that successful. Hammers of Misfortune fans are far and few between in places like Kansas. I don't even know if we played Kansas, but I know we went across the country and played some meagerly attended shows. But it was still a lot of fun, and I'm glad I did it. And Max from Old Grandad, my musical partner of many years, is on this album. He plays bass on this album, and he also did the tour with me as well. That was another selling point for me to join the band and go on the road with him, is the fact that Max was in the band. I've never done a tour with Max. Old Grandad never toured. The furthest we ever went, San Francisco, was like Lake Tahoe or some shit. So we never toured. So yeah, that was an opportunity to go across country with Max and do some nightly drinking, which is pretty much what we did here in the city, but in a different locale every night. But yeah, I love this record. Fantastic. This album is the follow-up called Dead Revolution. And I play drums on this album. But no, it's not my favorite Hammers of Misfortune album. I'm sure people would think I would pick this one as my favorite, but for obvious reasons. But no, I think the previous album, 17th Street, has the edge on it because of the production. The production on this album is good. I'm not complaining at this bad production, but 17th Street sounds a little better. But this is still in the same musical direction as the previous album. I'd say maybe a little heavier, kind of a mixture of Deep Purple, like psychedelic moments of Deep Purple with early Metallica. That's how I could best describe this album. And I just love this era. These two albums are like sister albums musically and like thematically as well. I'm not sure if this album is a concept album, but there's still a lot of familiar themes from the previous album on this one as well. And this was recorded at Light Rail Studios in San Francisco. And unfortunately, Max did not stick around long enough to record this album with me. He bailed after that tour. That was a rough tour, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, he left, and I stuck around because I wanted to record an album with Hammers of Misfortune, god damn it. I put all this work into learning these crazy old songs of theirs. Their songs are not easy to learn. This is, I would say, Hammers of Misfortune is second to Ulysses Siren as the hardest songs I've had to learn. So I put all that time and effort into it. God damn it, I want to be on wax with these guys. So yeah, we recorded the album at Light Rail, and it was a pretty quick process. Cool live room, big drum room. I used my old Tama Rockstar kit, which I just sold recently, and I'm happy with the results. I think this album turned out great. A funny story about the recording of this album and how it almost jeopardized the Death Angel show was I was recording this record like up until a day before I was leaving for Europe with Death Angel to play some festivals, do a summer festival run. I think that's what it was, yeah. And the day before I was leaving, flying out to Europe, I was in Light Rail Studios doing some percussion overdubs because John Cobbett was really inspired by like AC/DC, old AC/DC, how they would have like shakers and hand claps and stuff. Like a good example of that would be Rock and Roll Damnation off of Power Ridge. You can hear all kinds of percussion, and it really pushes the song along. So I was like on board with him, like, yeah, it sounds great. Let's throw some extra percussion on moments of this album. And so one of the songs, he wanted me to do like a fast shaker. Hey, see what I'm doing there? Yeah. He wanted me to do a fast shaker throughout the entire song. And it was like, I don't know, like a 5 or 6 minute song. So it was actually this arm. After a while, like, my shoulder was killing me. I was like, God damn it. I think I did it 3 fucking times just to get layering or whatever. But I did it 3 times in a row. So I did like 18 minutes of and it fucked my shoulder up. I could feel like tendons moving in my shoulder after I was done. Like, I had to sleep on my side that night because it was just total painful. And on the flight there to Europe, I'm just praying like, oh God, I hope this pain goes away. We got a big festival show tomorrow. And anyways, it's still feeling funny backstage. I'm warming up. I'm doing stretches, whatever I can, and I still feel a lump or like a tendon moving or some shit. So we go on stage and we kick into like Evil Priest or something, like one of the faster Death Angel songs, and kind of a rough opening track, you know, like you really just jump right in. There's no warm up like musically, so it's all systems go. And I'm playing, and when I go up to my ride cymbal, I'm doing fast like 16th on my ride, and all of a sudden my hand just locks up, and my drumstick just rolls out of my hand. I go, oh shit. So I'm going tick it with this part of my body, and this hand's like locked like a claw. I'm like, fuck. And I remember Damien looking at me like, what the fuck's going on? And I was like, hand me a drumstick. I was telling my roadie, hand me a drumstick. And he gave me another one, and I powered through somehow. And I finished the song, and I'm just like holding my shoulder, like massaging it, trying to like, oh my God, I gotta do something to get to this show. And I remember my drum tech, Fozzie, rest in peace, just said, what the hell is wrong with you? I was like, oh my God. But I got through the show, and I never told Death Angel until now. So you can blame Hammers of Misfortune for that. See you next week. All right.